Okay, Dolores Huerta, it is wonderful to be here with you at She the People, an unprecedented gathering of women of color in politics and leadership and activism. It's especially an honor for me because I actually came from the labor movement, having worked with SEIU for several years. I had a picture of you in my office. So it's really nice to be here with you. And as I think about what's happening right now with workers and the labor movement, I know that workers are facing unparalleled attacks in all kinds of ways. What keeps you going as you think about what's happening today?
Well, what you just mentioned, I think getting out there and telling people what's going on, and also especially when it comes to the labor movement, because I mean so many people don't know, it's not taught in our school books unfortunately, that the labor movement is responsible for so many of the benefits that working people have. How did we get the 8-hour day? It was labor union, and the people that fought for the 8-hour day were executed, they were hung. We don't know those names of those labor leaders that fought for something that all of us enjoy, in our working lives. And then we think about Social Security, workers' compensation if you get hurt on the job, that the employer is responsible for your medical bills, Social Security, public education, all kinds of safety standards that we have today are things that the labor movement fought for. But the most important thing that we have to think about is with these attacks on trying to eliminate, organizations that represent working people, which are unions, that this is really a threat to the middle class of the United States of America, because the middle class is really created by labor. And the other threat is that if we don't have a middle class, we don't have a democracy. So when we think about the importance of these organizations for working people, we have to realize that unions are a basic part of our democracy, a basic part of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to ask you, as someone who has been active in many ways for over 50 years, what advice do you have for young people today, especially because, as you've mentioned, they don't get taught these kinds of things in school?
Well, I think that number one, we have to say we have to fight for an education. I call it the Howard Zinn education model that really teaches of the contributions of people of color to building the United States of America, which is kind of eliminated from our school books, the contributions of women. And kind of include in our educational system attacks on misogyny, so that women can be taught from the time that they're, in elementary school, that they are equal to men, and that they have to know that they can fight any kind of domination from other people over their lives, and of course about the labor movement also, and the contributions of all of these people that are left out of our school books and our LGBT community, etc. So I think we have to fight for our education, number one, so we can have not equality, but also an equitable education, because we're trying to stop the school-to-prison pipeline, which is something that our foundation is working on, and also the resources that we need to come to our schools, because we know that there's no reason why we shouldn't have pre-education for every student in the United States of America, pre-college education. Because if they can do it in Cuba, why can't we do it in the United States of America? So and also to just get out there and register people to vote, get out there, campaign, knock on those doors, make sure that people vote, because it's okay, it's wonderful to demonstrate, and it's wonderful to march, but at the end of the day, the people that make the decisions about policies that affect our lives and where our tax dollars are going to be spent, it's the people that are elected to office. And we have to keep our eye on the prize and keep on organizing and keep on campaigning and keep on working.
Great. I have one last question for you. You had mentioned before women and the importance of teaching women, that they're young girls in particular, that they're equal to men. And I read an interview that you did last year where you talked about the importance of different social justice movements coming together. What excites you about the possibility of Black Lives Matter and the Women's March and labor movement coming together?
Well, I think it's exciting, and to think that so many of these movements are being led by women and being led by women of color. I mean, that I think is very exciting. And I do believe, I think the next march that we have on Washington should be all of our movements together. So I think that this would be such a resounding voice of expression of saying, we're not happy with the way things are going. We need a change in the administration. We need to have people protected. But we're stronger together. We're stronger together.
That's actually the motto for SEIU. So thank you. I agree, we're stronger together, and it's an honor to speak with you. Thank you for your contributions.
Thank you very much. Yes, we can.
Yes. Sí se puede.